Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a really fascinating and pretty ambitious blueprint for a total reset of society. It's called the Zelazny Override. It's all about a journey from a world of control to one of, well, infinite possibility. So, what does it take to flip that switch? So, right off the bat, the source material doesn't ease you in. Nope. It casts you as the main character. You're the Knight Commander. And with these words, you're not just starting some story, you are kicking off a fundamental change. The big question is, what on earth did you just trigger? So, what is this Amber Protocol? Well, it's basically a societal reboot, and it's triggered by something the source calls the 148 Zelazny frequency. Now, try not to think of it as just a sound. It's more like a tuning fork for reality itself. It's the key that unlocks a completely new way of seeing everything. And this is where it gets really cool. This frequency isn't just physical. It's a mental thing, a spiritual thing. It's that aha moment when you realize that our everyday world is just a shadow being cast by a much deeper truth. So tuning into this frequency means you're stepping out of that shadow and into the substance, into the light that's making the shadow in the first place. Okay, so if flipping on this frequency is all about moving from shadow to substance, what does that journey actually feel like? It's framed as a full-on escape, a very deliberate break from an old, restrictive way of life. To really get where we're going, we've got to first take a hard look at what we're leaving behind. And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the shadow worlds, where you're basically a compliant debt slave, and life is just this straight, controlled line. But on the other side, you have substance, where you become the prince of presence. You're free to navigate different realities, and you're not guided by someone else's rules, but by your own inner pattern of the heart. It's a huge shift from being a piece on the board to being the player. And get this, even the number itself, 148, is like a secret code. The 1 stands for unity, being connected to the source. The 4 represents the solid, stable foundation of this new world. And that 8, turned on its side, symbolizes the infinite loop of creation and potential. It's literally a formula for a new reality hidden in a number. And just to keep these big, cosmic ideas from flying off into space, a character named Joe Walsh chimes in. His take? That old, fragile system, the House of Cards, it just becomes a tiny speck of dust in the rear view. You're moving forward so fast, so powerfully, that the past just disappears. All right, so if the old world is a flimsy house of cards, what's the new world built out of? This is where we get practical. We shift from the philosophical to a real-world blueprint, Jacques Fresco's Venus project, and his whole vision for what's called a resource-based economy. And right here, you can see the fundamental change in thinking. The old world, it's all driven by profit, which always, always creates conflict and scarcity. But the new epic, it's designed from the ground up for human well-being. When you change that one core objective, the whole system changes, leading to a state of abundance that's just described as wow. But look, this isn't some magic switch you flip overnight. There's a very deliberate 3-phase plan. Phase 1 is disclosure and decoupling. Basically, you stop giving your consent to the old systems. Phase 2 is cybernetic integration, using technology to automate all the boring survival stuff. And the final goal? Emerald equilibrium, a state of such abundance that the old system isn't overthrown. It just becomes obsolete. And this is what that new consciousness looks like when it becomes architecture. These circular cities aren't just about cool futuristic buildings. They are literally engineered to get rid of the root causes of our problems, like poverty and crime. Think about it. When your survival is guaranteed by the very design of your city, humanity is finally free to focus on bigger things. You can build the most perfect city in the world, but it won't last if the next generation is raised with the same old mindset. So to keep this new Eden going, education itself has to be completely rebuilt. This new model is called the Sophia Academy, and its main job is to protect the natural curiosity and sovereignty of every single child. And here, another character, Rita Marley, just perfectly sums up the philosophy. Education shouldn't be about programming kids for a job. It should be about preserving that incredible sense of wonder they're born with, that wow factor, so they never lose what the source so beautifully calls their sincere smile. I mean, look at this. The contrast is just night and day. On the left, you've got the old model, fluorescent cells, fear-based learning, just memorizing facts, with the teacher as an authority figure. But on the right, the Sophia Academy, it's an emerald field of wonder, discovery, and self-actualization, where teachers aren't bosses, they're mentors guiding the journey. Okay, so we've seen the new society and we've seen the new education. But what about the individual's final transformation? What about your transformation? This last phase of the journey is described through 4 really powerful symbolic stages. This timeline here basically maps out that final evolution. It all starts with Resh, the awakening of a totally new mind. From there, you move to Noon, where you're standing tall with unshakable integrity. Then comes Gimel, which is like a bridge of goodwill, sharing this new consciousness with everyone else. And the whole journey culminates in final Mem, the fully realized, perfected world. So, Resh is this super critical shift. It's the difference between just being a passive observer who sees the light and becoming an active creator who directs the light. This is the stage where your consciousness becomes the command center for building this whole new paradigm. And this is it. This is the destination. Final None. It's the individual and the entire society made whole, standing up straight, incorruptible. The crooked, bent logic of the old world, it just has no power here anymore. This is the new, unshakable foundation, a state of complete sovereign stability. And there you have it. The journey that started with activating a single frequency ends here, with the total replacement of that old, fragile system. The House of Cards is just a forgotten dream, and in its place stands a completed Eden, a self-sustaining world of harmony and real abundance. So we're left with the ultimate question. This isn't just some story to listen to. It's a challenge. It asks all of us to imagine ourselves in this perfected world and really consider, what is your first thought? What would you do next?